Happy New Year! 2020 has finally arrived here at St. Simon and Jude. For the last few years, we've been focused on this year 2020 with our goal of 50-50 by 2020. Our goal that at least half the people that come to Mass here regularly will be engaged in our church by the end of the year 2020. And we made great progress on this goal and hope with this last year that we can continue to make good progress. And so, as we've been talking, we've dubbed this liturgical year the Year of Communion, where we talk about how as we come here to Mass, we should become a Eucharistic community. We should really come in communion to really care for each other. And so we continue our journey looking at this Year of Communion, but exploring the rules of St. Benedict that he gave to his monks for living in community. Today we celebrate the solemnity of the Epiphany, where we remember St. Matthew's account of the three magi who were intrigued by a star in the sky and went off on a journey seeking the Christ child. You know, in our life, we're always seeking. We're always seeking God. We may not even realize that, but there's just this desire in us that we go forth trying to seek God. That's why St. Augustine says that our hearts are restless until they rest in God, because we're always seeking. But you know, with the Magi, they had to go off on a far journey. With us, what we're seeking is right here with us, is right here in our heart. But we are intrigued by the journey. We're intrigued by trying to find God, trying to find this happiness. So we go forth and we go on journeys seeking Him in all the wrong places, constantly looking for Him, constantly trying to jump from one thing to another. We develop this kind of grass is always greener attitude, where we always think that happiness is just right around the corner, or just right in the next field we'll find that green grass. But in reality, happiness is right here where we're at, right here in our hearts, right here. And it's when we stop and pause that we can truly find God and truly find happiness. One of the vows that St. Benedict had his monks take was a vow of stability, a vow to stay within one monastery community for the rest of his life. You know, he wanted the monks to realize that you don't find God by jumping from one thing to another, but you find God right where you're at. That God is not just somewhere else, but God is here with us. And so by staying with that one monastic community, the monk would learn charity, would learn how to build true bonds with the fellow monks, with his brothers there. And as things got hard, he would have to work through them. You know, unfortunately, all too often in our society today, we do just jump from one thing to another. And when we have some issue with someone else in our community or someone else in our family, we just tend to turn away and tend to go out and seek happiness somewhere else. St. Benedict realized that we grow in holiness when we stay with it, when we stay committed to our community, stay committed to our family, and learn true charity to the people around us. Not just charity, a nebulous charity for some unspecified person out there. Our society today really has a problem with stability. Our society tells us that we should just jump from one fad to another, from one thing to another, just satisfying our own desires. Father Longnecker talks about that in his book, St. Benedict for Busy Parents. Here's what he says: when a society cannot accept a particular virtue, it is in all the more need of that virtue. What we all desperately need in our fast-paced, action-packed world is the quiet virtue of stability. Our society is built on the assumption that the latest new gadget or idea is the best. We believe that happiness is just around the corner. And if we can only get more and better material goods, a better job, a better body, better friends, or more money, we will be happy. Our society is built on a kind of restlessness and search for more. Stability says, stop, look, listen. Salvation is at hand. find happiness here or find it nowhere. So how do we cultivate this stability in our lives, our families, and our communities? There are several practical steps. First of all, we can limit our desire for material well-being. Do we have too much consumer debt? Are we greedy and ambitious? These faults show that we are not content and that we are always searching for happiness somewhere else. Most importantly, do we cultivate our own lives of prayer? Do we make it clear to our families that the only true happiness is found in the love of God?